So let's have a look at possibly the worst Lamborghini Gallardo I have ever seen for sale. And in fact, it's Bam Margera's Lamborghini Gallardo. It appears to be a complete dumpster fire, but it's on eBay. So let's check it out. Alrighty, so here we are in eBay, with some pictures which are not very good of a not very good car. Now, if you're interested in things that are less of a dumpster fire, check out my website, luxuryprofessor.com, which has some of my watches that I've listed for sale. For example, an Omega Seamaster, for example, and I've got a couple of JLCs that are for sale. So check that out. But anyway, let's go back to the car. So basically what we've got here is a purple Lamborghini, which is really quite ugly. We have a sunroof on this Lamborghini. So let's see if we can get some front-on pictures or some normal pictures, and then we'll go and see if we can find, there we go. We'll look at the details afterwards. All right, so here we've got effectively our side profile of the car. Now, immediately you can tell that it's awful. Now, for some unearthly reason, there are purple wheels, and it looks like the purple isn't even done well. The rest of the purple looks very ugly, but the wheels themselves have been painted in purple that appears to be wearing off. It's definitely a choice. They also look like they're aftermarket wheels, judging from the centers here. So again, side profile is not filling me with confidence. If we continue around, we can see some other pictures of this car. The other side is not any better. And again, we can see that the purple is wearing off on the wheels. Looks like it's in pretty terrible condition. So in particular, we can see, I don't know if that's damage or reflection right on the side, but obviously wheel paint wearing off. Also the lights here, these are fogging up and have become awful. Now this, as an aside, is not that uncommon for Gen 1 Gallardos. I owned a Gen 1 Gallardo. Its lights became kind of like this, not this bad, but kind of like this after a while. It's not exactly a cheap fix, but you can fix it by just replacing the lights. So not cheap, but easy is probably the best way of putting it. So if we continue around, oh, we've got scissor doors. Well, this makes it even worse. So a Gallardo, for those of you who aren't familiar with them, shouldn't have scissor doors. Its doors should open up like a normal car. Mine open up like a normal car in both my Gen 1 and also my Gen 2, my LP Superleggera. Normal doors. Now, when you've got scissor doors like this, there are lots of kits that let you do it. Lots of kits that help you to have Lambo doors or doors that you would see on like an Aventador or something like that. These tend to be terrible. They're terrible for two reasons. One, they're often really low quality and shake. But two, even if they are quality and actually work, it looks very try-hard. Like, it looks like you are really trying to prove, probably to yourself, that you have enough money to have a Lamborghini, is my general impression of scissor doors. Now, if one has a car, one can do what one likes with it. And I don't innately have an objection to doing this on like a Honda Civic, because it's kind of entertaining. But doing it on a Lamborghini makes it look like you're trying to make it look more expensive than it is. It's kind of like an up-badging equivalent. So I'm not a huge fan of up-badging, to be totally honest. Nor am I a huge fan of putting scissor doors on a car that was not intended to have them, like this. Continue around, we get a similar view. The doors at least are going up. We don't know if they're really working, but they're going up. The front. Alright, so let's have a look at the front here. Now, here we've got a better angle of the lights. Again, kind of fogged up and not particularly great. Also, we have what looks like marks on the hood. And possibly the bumper, although I'll stand corrected, that might be lighting. Now, the thing is with these marks, I assume that they are marks on the hood. The reason I say that is if you're selling a car, you would wipe off any dirt, right? Like if the dirt looks this smudgy, you would wipe it off. Like it's not that difficult. You get like a tea towel and some water, and you could wipe off something that's really dirty. So I assume it is actually a mark here. Again, creating further issues to this not terribly nice paint. Let's face it, you'd redo the whole thing anyway, so maybe it's not a big issue. Since you have to respray it, then you might as well just deal with these marks. But the issue, of course, would be if they're dents. Then if we continue on, we can look at the back. Now, the back is not particularly egregiously bad. I mean, the grills need some, I guess, just a little bit of cleaning. It's not uncommon for a Gallardo grill to look kind of like this. It gets a little bit dirty. The rear lights look okay. I don't have terribly much to say about the rear lights. They look fine. Um, Amazingly, however, notwithstanding the scissor doors, they have not bothered to do the upgrade of the pre-LP lights to the LP lights. I never really got the point of doing that modification, but they haven't, which is surprising given that they did the scissor doors. Another thing that is interesting, or at least curious here, is with the engine cover. A more desirable version here would have the engine cover under glass, right? Because then you could see the engine. Here, however, it is not under glass. Now, as an aside, for the cost of doing those scissor doors, they could have done a glass engine cover and made it look nice. That would have been a much better option than doing the scissor doors. And it would have made the car more desirable than the scissor doors, which probably are going to harm value overall. So again, curious choices overall with the modifications. Now, I know the history of this car, so there are some worse modifications to come. So we've got another side profile, not very much to say about this. It's, as an aside though, the workshop this is in looks quite nice, even though the car itself is pretty awful. We now have a skateboard, I don't know why, I don't care. Oh, and we've got the fuel lid. It has like that, I don't know, is that like a Satanist sign, but made out of skateboards? I don't know. Anyway, they've painted on the fuel cap. Now, I think that's silly, but if you're going to repaint the whole car anyway, you might as well just repaint the fuel cap. It's not the most expensive disaster on this car. Inside, it is difficult to get good pictures of. It looks like a typical Gallardo inside in this angle, but there's more to get to. The issues to mention here are, firstly, as with all 04 Gallardos, it has this tape deck. I would have thought it would make sense to replace this with the infotainment system you get from, say, a 2006. Because you could still get an OEM and get an OEM system, but a slightly more modernized one that gives you a reverse camera. So driving these without a reverse camera, by the way, is painful. So you would have thought they'd upgrade that, or they could even go aftermarket. If they were to go aftermarket, I would encourage them to keep the tape deck so they have the original parts. But it's a strange one. And this car has been trashed. So it's not like you keep the original here to keep it in pristine OEM condition. Weird. The rest of it looks normal. One thing I'll remark about for all of these Gallardos, and one thing that really annoys me, is with all of these Gallardos, what you'll notice, like down here, and 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 also with the gauge cluster, lots of things are plasticky. That really annoys me about both of my Gallardos. It's not something that's a problem per se with this Gallardo, but it is something that annoys me in general. Also, it appears the bull is black here. That's unusual. I don't know why that happened. I think they might have painted it. Again, weird. Now, if we continue on, again, this is another interior view. Not very much to say about this. In terms of the odometer, it seems like it has 25,000 miles. I'm going to assume that these are genuine miles, although if I'm incorrect there, let me know that in the comments below. So we're talking about 50,000 kilometers, which is reasonably low mileage, if we're totally honest, for a car of this age. The engine is a... wow. That looks like a disaster. The problem with this is it looks like it has, like, I don't know what's happened here. Like, have a look at these parts. It looks like the paint's come off. Like, they must have done something really bad to get that happening. Like, that takes a lot of, a complete lack of care to get that type of thing happening. Now, it looks like there's some tarnish over here as well. For some reason, a lot of the engine covers have disappeared. It looks like they're missing a number of the engine surround areas. So you're missing some parts here. At least that's what it seems. Now, you could replace those parts with some carbon fiber that you're going to import from China. That's quite doable. So it's not the end of the world. It just shows the complete lack of care they've taken for this car. Also, everything's dirty in here. Like, you would have thought they'd at least kind of get it cleaned and detailed first. But nope, dirt everywhere. It doesn't fill me with confidence about this car actually running very well. And I would be pricing in a lot of money to kind of fix this up, if I'm honest about the car. It looks like it's a little bit of a dumpster fire, to be honest, in terms of at least the engine and the state of it. If we continue on, got more wheels that are ugly. At least they've given pictures of all four wheels, which is nice. More dents. Again, adding to the disaster. More dents here. Completely trashed, although those doors are nasty anyway, so maybe that serves them right. Oh, and also, the door handle is broken. Normally with this door handle, you would have this purple bit here. It would extend and cover, but they've obviously broken it off. Probably what happened here is the battery went flat. They needed to access the door using the key, and when you're doing this, you need to remove this little plastic flap here. So they must have removed it, but done so in a way that broke the handle. That seems to be what happened. I mean, it's not that uncommon. However, it still is a problem. Probably not the biggest problem. This is the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the sunroof. Now, there's footage floating around the internet of them installing the sunroof. I have no idea why. Apparently, this was a DIY job where they just kind of got a circular saw, cut into the roof, and then installed a sunroof. Now, you have to give it to them for the ingenuity of it. I wouldn't trust this to survive anything. Like, I wouldn't trust this to really be waterproof. I wouldn't rely on this to be in any way structurally sound. I think it's incredibly ugly and so stupid. But it's a modification. It's definitely probably, I suspect it is literally the only Gallardo with a sunroof. It's a one of one for those of you who want a unique car. Really stupid idea, in my opinion. Again, more doors. I don't know why you put more pictures of these. Maybe they're trying to be honest about the condition, because it seems like everything's wearing off on the sides here, like underneath, and also the leather seems to be detaching. So it's not really great. Like, terrible. And again, I don't know where this one's from, but more damage. And the windscreen may or may not be damaged. It may or may not be damaged right here. I don't know if that's a scratch or a scuff. Who knows? Something happening with the windscreen wipers. Again, weird. Seems like someone has just gone out of their way to trash the car. And then again, it looks like that's hail damage, which won't be the cheapest thing to fix, like right here. I mean, they could have done something else to it, but it looks like hail damage. Now, weirdly, the damage is only in one part, so that could be quite fixable. But I'd be concerned about damage in other areas of that nature. Like, why would you want... Yeah, it's going to take quite a bit of money to fix that. So those are our pictures of it. Amazingly, at the moment, it is up to 65,000 US dollars. The reserve has not been met. They're really banking on this being the Bam Margera Lamborghini. Because let's face it, this is not a nice car. And if you're looking at a $65,000 price here, go to Auto Trader. Get something that's actually not a piece of rubbish. There are 90 bids on this. It is insane. And 8 days left, so you can easily see this increasing. Most ugly, disgusting Lamborghini on the market. It's fun, but still. If we go down here, let's read the description. So, here is your chance to own a piece of TV history. Up for auction is the famous 2004 purple Lamborghini Gallardo that was owned by the one and only Bam Margera of MTV's Jackass series. The Lamborghini can be seen on episodes of Jackass that aired on MTV. It can be seen on YouTube as well. Most notably, 3,000 Miles, the Gumball 3000 movie, documenting the journey with Tony Hawk and Mike Valley. A must-watch with a YouTube link, thanks. If this Lamborghini could talk, it would have amazing stories. The sunroof was cut off by the famous rocker, Billy Idol. Sunroof was then professionally installed. So there we go. Professionally installed sunroof. Even better. Wonderful. Please take a look at all the pictures and let us know if you want more pictures or have any questions. This vehicle has been continuously serviced at required maintenance times. It doesn't look like it. This Lamborghini was sitting for 2 years outside in Westchester, Pennsylvania, until acquired and now currently showroom until acquired, and now currently showroom something something something. My screen is cut off. This Lamborghini engine is strong and will need a $25,000 service. Those two aren't compatible. If you need to spend $25K on the engine, it is not strong. But I don't. Anyway, most will just sit in the showroom because of the history of this vehicle. No, it won't. A vehicle health inspection was performed on this vehicle, and the following items are to note. Recommend to replace 4 struts. Recommend to replace rotors and pads due to rust from sitting in the elements. Clutch is near minimum thickness. Clutch measures 5.14 millimeters of wear. Perform a 25,000 kilometer service. Or maybe they're saying a 25,000 kilometer service as opposed to 25,000 or 25,000 mile service, sorry, as opposed to $25,000. That maybe I misinterpreted what they were saying here. They should have been clearer about what the 25K referred to, because you could get a 25K engine job or a 25,000 mile service. I don't know which one it is. I'm going to give them credit here and assume it's the 25,000 mile service. So please take a look at the photos, which show all imperfections and cosmetics. Own a piece of history. Any questions, please contact us. So there we go. This is possibly the worst Gallardo I've seen for sale. Now, I've owned 2 Gallardos, like I said, a pre-LP and an LP. Now, there are some common issues with pre-LPs and LPs that you might want to consider if you're looking at buying a car, right? So, for example, with any of these, you want to look at the clutch wear. You don't want to do a basic PPI to make sure that you're not going to have to spend too much. And you need to look at all of the cosmetic things. It's good they've looked at the brakes and the rotors. That can be a little bit expensive, although not insurmountable. So overall, you're probably looking at spending a lot of money on this. For a replacement clutch, probably like $8,000 in addition to your auction price. And that auction price is high. So definitely a complete dumpster fire. Definitely is a chance to own a piece of history, but I wouldn't be owning a piece of history at that price because it looks like a complete train wreck. But I'd be interested to hear your views about possibly the worst Lamborghini Gallardo sale. If you have any thoughts about it, let me know that in the comments below. If you think I'm completely deluded and have missed the point, let me know that as well. And otherwise, it would be great if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And of course, don't forget to check out my luxury watch website, luxuryprofessor.com, where I'm selling off some of my watches. So it would be great if you check that out as well. And regardless, it would be great to see you for future videos as well. Bye.